A Russian teacher now under criminal investigation for making anti-war comments in her classroom. The English teacher says it's because she was turned into authorities by her own students who secretly recorded her. This is one Russian family decided to flee the country so their son would not have to hear Putin's lies about the invasion of Ukraine in his school. Matt Rivers is out front in Tbilisi, Georgia, with more.
Gia was born in Georgia. He just didn't think he'd be back here quite yet. His family moved to Russia 30 years ago, fleeing the Georgian Civil War. It was in Moscow they built a life, where he met his wife Anya and where his kids were born. He's told them the truth about the horrors of the current war in Ukraine and says he worried what would happen if one of their teachers in Russia echoed Putin's propaganda that this war is just.
He knows what's really going. And he will say, no, you are not right. And it could be problems for him.
You were worried that your son would
Yes.
have problems?
Yes.
Wow.
So the family left for Georgia just a few days after the war began, though Anya isn't completely convinced that they will be safe here either. If no one stops Putin, she says he can easily go both to Georgia and to the West. And she is not alone in her fears. Georgians have a long, brutal history with Russia. Russian troops invaded in 2008, and thousands of troops remain in 2 breakaway provinces of Georgia. And in 1989, in the capital of Tbilisi, nearly 24 protesters were killed and hundreds were injured by Soviet troops as they advocated for independence. People gathered over the weekend outside the parliament building in Tbilisi to mark the anniversary of that massacre. Georgian flags this year joined by those from Ukraine for what's now called National Unity Day.
It's a big day each year in Georgia, but this year it's made even more important given what we're seeing Russian troops do in Ukraine.
Decades of Russian aggression here have left deep scars, and many now see parallels between Putin's invasion of Ukraine and what they fear could happen in Georgia.
Russia poses a deadly threat for Georgian independence, for our sovereignty, for our territorial integrity.
Do you think that there's a chance that Russia could invade Georgia again?
Yes, this threat is always. Every country across Europe, not only Georgia, is under threat.
Back in their apartment, Gia and his family wholeheartedly agree. They told us they don't want their children and grandchildren to grow up in what they call North Korea 2.0. And for that, grandmother Galina says people must understand a crucial point. She says the whole world must understand that Ukraine is now really not fighting just for itself. It's fighting for everyone. And the whole world must unite and stop Putin because he won't stop with Ukraine.
And Aaron, the family tells us that when they were still in Moscow during the first few days of the war, when they would talk to some of their Russian friends about the war, they were shocked to hear that people they considered themselves close to were actually just parroting lines of Russian propaganda, things like the Ukrainian government is fascist, that they are drug addicts, a line that we hear often in Russian state media, and those relationships and those people's reactions to the war, the family tells us that actually played a role in their decision to come here to Georgia. Aaron.
Amazing. Matthew, thank you very much.
What Bible do you read? And how